Hi, Susan. Thank you so much for joining us on the HelloPrenup Podcast. How are you today?
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, hello, beautiful fiancés. Today we have Susan Scherman, who is a personal strategy consultant that helps people get to the bottom of their issues, that empowers them to discover alternative solutions. By relying upon her extensive experience as an attorney in family law, business, and mediation, Susan has an amazing style for enabling adversaries to cooperate in reaching cost-effective resolutions. So, Susan, please tell me, how did you get into divorce mediation?
Well, I was studying law in law school, and I knew that I wanted to deal with the person behind the problem. And that was the reason that I got into it when it was brand new. In San Francisco, there were very few, if any, mediators when I started. And I created a system for people to work out their issues between each other in a non-adversarial, cost-effective arena called My Office. And the population in San Francisco at first was reluctant because it was so new. But then the press started to interview me, and TV and a bunch of other lectures came about where I was speaking at law schools. So I was promoting the concept of mediation along with that they should come to me. So it was kind of a double marketing. But about the family law lawyers in San Francisco were pretty upset in the beginning. And about 3 years later, because they thought I was taking the last client on the block, but about 3 years later, I had lunch with a friend of mine who was at a family law firm. And I said, what are the lawyers in your firm thinking about mediation now? And she looked at me quizzically and she said, well, we're all doing it, of course. So it was a wonderful way to work issues between people in a non-litigious forum. And I continue to do that and have continued to do that throughout my career. And even now, when people call me and they say, oh, I want to sue him, or I want to get him, or I want to get her, or some adversarial approach, I bring them around to my way of thinking, which is that it is better for them in the long run to resolve their issues rather than litigate. But when it comes to prenups, that's a whole other story, because people are not adversaries when they're developing a prenup, and nor do they want to be. So right. It's very, very important to recognize that. I've drafted many prenups and have mediated many prenups. So I know how delicate is the relationship at the time of love. So I believe strongly in prenups because it gives people the security of knowing what their future finances hold. It's about the business of the marriage. And that's the way I try to work with couples or individuals who are having hesitancy about a prenup. And I try to show them that it will be more security, not less. If they have the ability to communicate openly about this very tricky subject called finances, and they, through that, establish their way of communicating. They say the first 17 months, the status of the marriage is kind of formed in terms of the dynamics. But if people can really talk about tough subjects before they say I do, they are way ahead of the game because they have a method of communicating with each other. and they can fall back upon it. So I think that it is beneficial. And even if somebody feels somewhat blindsided by the request, that's where I come in and I can help that person to always see their side as well as the other side about the benefits to them of reaching this agreement and reaching resolution.
So what would you say the benefits are of a prenup?
Well, the benefits of a prenup are that it gives confidence to people going in, because there are no surprises. They know exactly what their finances are going to be about, how they will manage the business of their marriage, how they will divide or not divide, how they will share, and even perhaps how they will buy in later down the road. There are many ways to draft a prenup, many different avenues to approach. And it's not just simply, oh, well, the larger earner brings the lesser earner to the table and gets the lesser earner to sign. No, the lesser earner has everything to gain from understanding the finances and becoming independent in that. One of the concerns that people have is when they're in love, they are a we, and they are enmeshed with each other in their love buzz. And that is to be honored, protected, and revered. But that does not mean that they should let go of their own independent thought process and become so enmeshed that they capitulate because they don't want to disturb the dynamic. And I say, become your own person at the get-go, stand on your own 2 feet, articulate the benefits and detriments for you, dialogue the issues up front, and maintain your independent self, aside from the love buzz. Because we all know that love buzzes are great. And of course, when you go into a marriage, you want it to be forever. And hopefully and supposedly it will be. But will that initial phase of honeymoon, that initial love buzz, still remain when 2 people have a home and children and perhaps nannies and preschools and tuitions? No, they're discussing other things at that juncture. Not that they're not in love, they still are, but better for 2 independents to be in a relationship than for we to become one and not maintain one's own ideals and preferences.
Right. So one of the things that I think is prevalent among the stigma with prenups is that it's all about somebody protecting their personal assets in the event of a divorce. But one of the things that has come to light for me while being a part of HelloPrenup and also going through the prenup process myself was that prenups protect you while you're married as well. It's not just about a divorce, because a divorce may or may not occur, but what will occur is you will be married. So you want to figure out how that's going to go for both of you financially, regardless of what comes your way, which is what you talked about. When kids enter the mix, or let's say a parent or a relative gets sick and now we have to pay for so-and-so's healthcare. All of these things come up and they're unexpected. What other benefits are included within a prenup that doesn't just talk about divorce?
Well, it's so great because they become business partners and they're managing their home and their family and their future. And if they maintain their independence in the beginning, then the dialogue down the road, whether we should go to Tahiti or fly to